Hey there, it's Chantal from Fresh is Real, and today I'm going to show you how to make a super quick pizza crust, flatbread, or wrap with cassava flour and five other ingredients, so 6 ingredients in total. So you'll see it's actually very easy. So to start, I've actually pre-measured all the ingredients, but all you need is 1 cup of cassava flour. In this case, I'm using Otto's, and I will put a link below for this particular flour. This one, I choose to use golden flaxseed. It's like the pre-ground one that you can buy. This one is Bob's Red Mill. So I have 2 tablespoons here, but you could probably get away by just using the 1, but I like using 2. So in this case, I will just put 2. And the flax will help to bind the ingredients together for this quick recipe. I have 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. A good quality sea salt will, make the flavor super good at this bread. So that was 1/4 teaspoon. And I have garlic powder. In this case, I have just a little bit less than 1/4 teaspoon. It's just enough to enhance all the flavors. So far we have the cassava flour, we have the flaxseed, and we have the sea salt and the garlic powder. And there's only 2 ingredients left, and that is either olive oil. You could use coconut oil if you wanted to. I tend to go for the olive oil. Typically I add 2 tablespoons, but again, maybe just 1 is enough. You could start with 1. I think I tend to put a little bit more. So we'll go with 2 for today. So 2 tablespoons of a good quality olive oil. Last but not least, some water. And the other day when I made it, I actually used warm water because I had some left over in my kettle. And it just helped bind the ingredients really, really well. So in this case, I have 1/2 cup here, but I'm not going to use it all yet. I'm going to start with maybe half, and then I'll stir the ingredients to see how it comes together. So that's kind of it. Like right now, as you can see, it's super simple. If my family's having a pizza night, it's not fair to get left out, right? So the other night I wanted a pizza as well, which I hadn't had one in a while. So I just said, what do I have to make a really quick pizza crust? So this is what I did. And it was perfect. So what I'm gonna do once the dough is ready is I'm gonna pre-cook it in a well-seasoned cast iron pan that's preheated. And this one's been preheating for a few minutes now. It will be ready to show you once my dough comes together. So you don't want the dough to be too sticky, like a pancake batter, or too runny like a pancake batter. You just want it not too crumbly in order for you to be able to handle it with your hands. It is possible to do it a little bit softer like a pancake batter, but then you need a spatula to help spread it in your pan. In this case, we're just going to use our hands because it's quick, and that's what I wanted to show you today, that it takes only a few minutes to put this recipe together. So at this point, you can tell that I can just pick it up with my hands. So I'm going to, from now on, use my fingers. The other day, I made an approximate 9-inch pizza crust with this amount of dough. This amount of dough will make 2 decent size flat wraps. Or flatbread or wraps if you want to for like a sandwich. For a pizza crust, you might want to roll it out a bit thicker. So as you can tell, it's almost like a Play-Doh consistency. If you want to see exactly how I would do it for a pizza, it is what I will show you today. But in a different scenario, if you wanted to just do a wrap, like a thinner wrap, you could just fold a piece of parchment paper and use a rolling pin like a rolling pin to help you flatten it out even smaller. But I would probably use half the dough in a situation like that. But for a pizza crust, the other day, all I did was kind of like this. I'll just roll it up again so you can see how easy it is to handle. And I'll move this out of the way because today I am not going to use it. And you just try to flatten it out a little bit. And once you transfer it to the pan, that's where you can flatten it a little bit more. I'm actually going to go ahead and put it in the preheated pan. And it's not fancy, like it's very easy, very quick. And you can try to keep the edges a little bit thicker for your pizza. But I mean, this is me going pretty quick, nothing fancy. But you know what? It does the trick. If you're trying to prepare something on the go, this is a great crust to put together. In this pan, I would typically cook it a few minutes on each side. You will know when it's ready to flip when you actually peek underneath and it's starting to get golden brown. So I'm going to let this first side cook a little bit, and then we're going to flip it and cook the second side. Alright, so we're about at the 3-minute mark for the first side, so we're going to take a peek underneath to see how it's coming along, and then if it's ready, we will flip it. So I think it's ready to flip. So as you saw, I just used my hands, and we're looking at a 9-inch pizza crust, just like I did the other day on the picture that I posted of my pizza. And for this side, it's going to be about the same, 3 to 4 minutes. If you know you're using it as a pizza crust, you don't have to worry about undercooking it, because you are going to add sauce and toppings, and then you're going to finish the baking process in the oven. But if you're using it as a wrap or a flatbread, just make sure that it's cooked throughout before you actually eat and enjoy it. Alright, so it's been 3-4 minutes for the second side. I'm going to take a peek, and if it's ready, I will show you what it looks like. I'm just going to leave it a little bit longer because for today's example, I'm actually going to eat it as bread, not necessarily as a pizza crust. But if you were making a pizza crust, I think it would be ready to transfer to a rack and add your toppings. So I am going to transfer it over here. So here it is, guys, the final crust. I've sprinkled extra sea salt because that's the way I like it. But it was very easy to make, only 6 ingredients. And there's many ways you can customize this to make your own. And if you're interested, I will have other recipes in the near future with similar ingredients. But for now, if you like quick how-to videos like this one, let me know in the comments. I would love to create more if this is helpful to you. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. It's really good.